What advice can you give to those who may have lost that loving feeling and they want to find the passion again in their life or in their relationship?
Well, again, that's pretty simple, because people have all these techniques, and they, sometimes people say to me, my wife's not responding, so maybe I should take her out for dinner, or buy her some flowers, or take her on a trip, or, say I love you, or whatever it is. And they try all these things and they get no response, or a negative response. In fact, sometimes people, when you're overly kind to them and you haven't been, they get suspicious and say, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Maybe, if you're having trouble in your relationship and maybe your husband or wife wants to leave, and you start showering them with affection and gifts, all they're going to think is they don't want me to leave because they're afraid of what would happen to them if I did leave. And all they're doing is trying to manipulate me and get me to change my mind, so that as soon as I do, then they'll go back to the person they were before with all of our problems. So they're suspicious, and it doesn't work to do that. But here's the thing, and again, it was a question I thought of about people in great relationships versus, say, the majority, is what keeps attraction? And what it is, here's a simple question you need to ask yourself. Not yourself, but everyone ask themselves, what was I doing and not doing early on in our relationship when things were going really well? What was I doing then that I'm not doing now? And because that's when and things are usually like, I wasn't criticizing. I wasn't telling them things that they shouldn't do. I was listening to them. I was praising them, complimenting them, saying, you're the most amazing person I've ever met. I'm so lucky to be with you. And you did that so well. That was fantastic. Gosh, you're just so amazing. Simple things like we were smiling at each other. Sometimes I say to people, when's the last time you smiled? Just a genuine smile, not some cheesy thing, but just a genuine smile at your husband or your wife and said, you're really great. Or sharing a funny story. Sometimes you find a funny video on YouTube, or you see something funny in the street, and you make them laugh. And some people who say to me, well, it's been years since I smiled. Oh. These are such basic things. So when you really think about what was I doing then, and you weren't criticizing, so many relationships now are full of arguments. What's the simplest way to end an argument? Just stop. Just say, I don't want to argue. It's not getting anywhere. But people think, no, I need to get my point across, or I need to I need to feel good by winning this argument. Well, they're not listening to me. Again, the communication thing. I need to explain it to them more. Get the message, you stupid person. And is that going to keep the attraction going? Because all that's happening between the two of you is saying, this is just not a fun place to be. I didn't sign up for this to be talking about our problems all the time, or told that I'm not communicating. What you want and what your spouse wants is to feel good. That's why you signed up for a relationship. So I often say a marriage is a mutual admiration society, where your job is to make the other person feel good. And you can do that. Smile at them, compliment them, tell them they're great. Don't criticize them. Don't look at their faults, because their faults were always there when you first met them. It's just you chose not to look at them. You don't need to look at them again.